I'm testing out all of the different musics that you can play for the intro. So would love your feedback on that as well. Maybe I should play my own music. But yeah, welcome everybody. Hi. Today is a special builder stage, I would say, because today we are talking about a thing that I care a lot about, and that is kind of like setting everything up to prepare your vibe coding flow, to create an app that actually has a great user experience and also a great UI. We have been, I think everybody we all love vibe coding. It makes everything so much faster, so much better. But there's also an issue with that comes with it, is that now all the applications look the same. And also, I feel like sometimes people build everything and then the user experience is still shit. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that today. And because I always am a DevRel and I don't have so much time building, I invited a lot of people who are building and who have like good insights, but we also invited some people who have some questions, who are currently building in proof of ship. And so we will I will just ask you all some quick questions. Then the next round would be to have people ask. We will ask what are your biggest challenges when building, and then we can also maybe roast some apps, which is like my favorite thing to do. So I want to welcome Viral. Viral works with me at Cello as a DevRel. Viral is the person that always does these amazing vibe coding workshops and is developing all of the developer toolings that you're all building with. Welcome, Viral. How are you?
Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm very excited for this workshop today, and and I'm also very excited that
To be honest, we have no plan what we are doing. We
No,
have no plan what we are doing. It's
I
just
have a whole
impromptu.
agenda. I send you the agenda.
Oh,
Um, sorry,
I didn't prepare in that case.
excuse me. What do you expect? You know me. And then we also have Blessing here. Blessing is from South Africa, and Blessing has very good advice on how to set everything up before a vibe coding session. And then we have some top apps here. We have Leaky from Crest Panda and Johnson from Miniland, and Nasiruddin from AfriCycle, and also FX Remit. And very excited. Maybe we have some other builders joining later, but I would just kick off by asking you what is your advice on preparing and setting everything up before you start vibe coding? Because I think the more you prepare, the more context you provide, the more you prepare the idea, the user flow, the easier and faster you can set up a project. So how do you normally set up your projects, and what are pointers you would give somebody? Blessing, let's start with you.
Amazing. So before you can even start setting up a project or touch an IDE, you need to essentially have the idea, like, what am I building? You need to have thorough understanding of what you are building. And then easily nowadays with ChatGPT, you can have a conversation. Say, hey, I have this idea. I would like to work on this idea. What am I missing from my idea? Or what is the gaps that I'm probably not looking at? So once you do that, you can basically put out a spec of the idea that you are working on. And usually most of the time, the biggest secret that I always do is like do a sequential diagram. So I asked ChatGPT to do like a sequential diagram using Mermaid. Then I go to Mermaid Live and I paste that sequential diagram. That way I can be able to validate the user flow of what I'm trying to build. So once I confirm that, or once it aligns with what I'm building, I ask for it to give me like a thorough user or front end specification or sitemap, which I can then throw into V0. Oh, wait. I can throw it into V0 and then have that vibe coded kind of interface, play around with it, tweak it, and see if it works from a functionality perspective. And then after that, which is very, very important, is going into Dribble to say, okay, for this crane that I have on the vibe coded application, how can I improve it to look good and to have a UI that doesn't look like it's vibe coded? From then, that's when you actually start playing around with the colors and the UI of it. I think from that approach, that is like the best way that you can create a MVP that is not like, that doesn't look like it's vibe coded.
Can
And
you send the link to the last app that you mentioned? I
come
said
again.
you said you talked about Mermaid Live, you talked about V0. What's the other app that you were talking about?
Okay, so Dribble, which is basically a site where you can go look for inspiration. There's also Behance.
Okay, I got it.
And then okay, so if once you have the functional UI from that is vibe coded and you have the inspiration, you can start looking into tools or components toolings, which is like UI components that are out of the box and they look good. And then you start replacing the vibe coded ones with the ones that actually look good. And nowadays you can just use Cursor to put those things together. Like you can literally paste the component and say, hey, can you replace the button with this styled button? And then you can it will easily start looking good. So there's a couple of, I don't know how I should share them, but there's a couple of UI components that you can use. One of my favorite one is just Tailwind library. You can go there and you can see out of the box components that are already styled. And also there is shared CN, as that's like one of the most common one that is basically that is the one that V0 usually use. And then there's a lot of cool ones. I'm not sure if I should send the links to it. Let me just send the links. So there is React Bits. And then there's Assay 1080 UI. Yes, also Twixen. Yeah. So that's basically how I approach vibe coding.
Nice. We will add all of the links later in the video description on YouTube, so you can find them and then you can start building. I have a question. Nasiruddin, is that how you start building your project?
Funny enough is I actually care more about the technicality. I don't really do more front end and all. I don't really
I
like
know you don't.
I don't
That's
As
why
long
I
as
invited you today.
as long as the functions are working as they're
Yeah,
supposed to be, I'm good.
yeah. Okay. Do you
True.
feel like that would be helpful? This is helpful for you, and in the future you will apply that, or you yeah, that's my question.
Oh, definitely. This is actually the first time I'm actually hearing of other front end components that I can use apart from Vue. I actually know of, but I don't use it because I don't really like colors and those stuffs. I don't really like them. As long as it is working. Is it working? It is working. Then just give it one UI. It should work. That's just it. That's how I actually build them.
Yeah.
Focus more on the technicality.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think it's in the end, it's both, right? If your app looks really ugly, it's harder to onboard people or like keep them staying.
Yeah, true,
So,
true.
yeah. Viral, was there anything new in what Blessing described in his flow, or do you do it similarly?
I do it similarly, but I don't use these many LLMs. I try to restrict it to, like, I'm very choosy on which LLM I use, but not these many options, to be sure. Like, and I stopped using Lovables and Bolt and all those V0s because I feel like at some stage, if with the right prompt, Cursor is as good as all these three protocols now. And yeah, like if you know your way around a code editor, then technically you don't need any of the online editors like Replit and all stuff. You don't need it. And with Cursor, the beauty is that it has access to your terminal. And now you can do CI/CD, deploy your application, deploy a database using Docker. All those stuffs are doable in just a code editor. And if you go to the route of V0, like this, so what I'm saying is more for full stack developers. But if you are just for UI developers, then yeah, sure, like V0 and all these UI frameworks or the online frameworks are good enough. But for like an end-to-end application where you have a smart contract, you need to deploy it. And for deploying, you need CLI access. Like you need to use Hardhat or Foundry. And for that, you need to install Rust. And all those dependencies are only possible. And yeah, like all this Windsurf, Cursor, they all have access to your terminal. So yeah, I used to use V0 a lot, like all those Lovable. I was one of the initial users, but yeah, it grew after
First
like
one.
after a point. Yeah, and after some point, yeah, there's a lot like people that don't know. Like there's Steam.dev, which is used to just copy or clone any one of the website, and they're like, if you just go to so yeah, here's a trick. If you want to find out these new protocols, just look at the new YC startups, and they are the all startups who's doing some really good things in AI. So yeah, look for what new projects are building inside YC. And yeah, we went on a side note, but yeah, like for me right now, it's all Windsurf or Cursor, depending upon how much credits I have left.
None. Okay, cool. Just to summarize, because we're gonna move on to the next question. We will add all of the links. Especially if you would develop Web3 and then you need a lot, Cursor might be a better solution. But if you want to test out the newest one, look at Y Combinator, new startups. And especially for user experience, that's something I want to tell everybody who's building for proof of ship. Do what Blessing said about the user flow and see if it makes sense. I've seen a lot of user flows that don't make sense. And it just like imagine you come to a website and you have no idea what you're supposed to do or what that page is even for, right? And I know it's an MVP, so you just want to add basic functionality, but really consider the user experience and how, especially in an MVP, a lot of things don't work. So maybe just try to draw the user or like guide the user through your application of like the user workflow that you want with some small prompts and small pop-ups. But yeah, that's just the user experience, and have like navigation back and forth. Sometimes I'm stuck at a page and I have no idea. I cannot go back, basically. So don't do that. And yeah, I think my next question would be Viral. That's for you. Is like, we've seen some projects and they've been building for months and they used vibe coding and they really don't care about the user experience and UI, but then they get the feedback from everybody like, this looks horrible, I don't want to use this, can you change it? How would you advise somebody to like change their project quickly without a huge lift? Or like, or while they are vibe coding, like I wrote somebody and was like, hey, do you want to join? Your UX is not great. We can talk about it. And he was like, yeah, but I still like this month I'm doing this, and next month I'm adding this functionality, and then the months after I will care about the UX. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's so far
So-
away. So what can we tell them along the way to keep in mind to once they want to change it, it's not going to be all over the place and they will have like the biggest. What are some guidelines to keep in mind? And
Yeah, I would like to divide this question in two parts. Like, so the main problem is that people think UI is not important, and that needs to be solved. Because like creating UI vibe coding way is not difficult. Like we have seen a lot, not just our videos, but there are a lot of YouTube videos where you can vibe code. But just the fact that developers think this is something that I can do anytime, and they don't prioritize UI and UX. Even I would say UX is more important than UI. UX is user experience compared to like any other shitty website which has like really long steps of just logging in. So focusing on UI and UX at this stage is most important, and I'll tell you why. I've seen a lot of people are able to like just go from idea to a product like an MVP in a couple of days. And if you have an idea, how would you compete with those people? Because right now I know a lot of people who have no idea around how to develop or how to create a project. And they are also shipping new product using something like Replit, let's say, where they can just type and deploy a project. And how would you compete with them? Because now your expertise and their expertise are same, and the expertise is writing prompts. So the best thing you can do is have a really good kick-ass user experience and UI, and after that it would be a storytelling. Because right now no one cares if your application does some breakthrough new technology. People cares is it should be usable. And yeah, product idea could be really simple, but it has to be usable. And you need a really good storytelling on your product if you want to actually get consumers. So this is something I'm telling for people who are not just building a product for a hackathon or just to test out something. So this is a really good guide for people who wants to go out in the market, have consumers, have VCs fund their product, and then properly do a startup. In those cases, building a good product is not as important or as crucial as it was before pipe coding. So the most important piece, as far as I've seen in Twitter right now, is storytelling. You need to get more users to know your story and why they should use an application, because the same application can be copied in a couple of days with a good engineering team or with good prompts, right? It doesn't matter right now that, yeah, you have a new idea, because the moment you launch your idea, and if it's actually good, anyone can just copy it. And the fact that you don't need source code to copy it is crazy. So I would say having a better user experience, not even UI, because UI you can get it from anywhere, from Dribble and Behance, but having a good user experience. And I'll give an example. Like good user experience would be not allowing your user to connect their MetaMask to using something like Twizy, where people who does not have MetaMask can just use Google account, right? So these are the small user experience things that can improve a lot in terms of like, why would I use X and why should I not use Y product, right? Like this is the small things that people look at, and once they like your product, they'll keep on using it. So yeah, like UI and UX is, I would say, more important than your backend, because backend is something that you can fix, but you should start with a good user experience. And okay, this is
Thank
the
you so
first
much
part.
for
Next
that.
part
I
is
love that. That's exactly what I wanted you to say. Okay. But like still, if we look at like just technique, I think that's great advice, and everybody should listen to you. But if like, what are some small pointers that they can consider while building and while vibe coding, that their components are not all over the place, or that if they are at one point having the budget and the time to improve on the UI UX, they just have to ask a designer to prepare some designs, some color schemes, and then add that. Like, what would you advise somebody who's like vibe coding all over with 10 different tools and dropping all of the different components in? How can you keep like your project clean so an update to your style is not like writing your whole project new?
Okay, so I'm sharing all these points on my personal experience. There are multiple scenarios where you are at. So one of the scenarios is you already have a front end and now you want to improve it. In that case, you need to make a decision. Do you create a new repository from scratch or editing it the same code? Because editing the same code is where the problem will start, because LLMs are not really good at editing 10 pages at the same time. And the moment you tell him edit first page, the next prompt is edit second page, the consistency will not like exist. Like it will start hallucinating and they'll start missing few buttons. And these are the things that now you'll have to again write a prompt. And it basically just elongates your process of changing the whole UI. Plus, it will create spaghetti code. That's like code is all over. And that's even in worse situation than it was before. So what I have seen or noticed is I usually go to 3 different repositories when I'm creating front end. The first one is a very basic one. And then I want to add a reference of a particular news site that I like. I start from scratch. And this is a good decision to do when starting. But yeah, like that's the first thing. Like decide if you want to edit the same one or create a new one. And while creating a new one, always start with researching not the UI, but the packages and the tools you want to use if you're solving for confusing, like the very spaghetti code, as I said. So go to Perplexity, go to any AI agent that has access to internet. A lot of agent, like I don't think so. Claude, if you go to Claude website and ask, it has really good internet. If you until and unless you use the research mode, but go to something like Perplexity and ask questions like which are the best packages to create what I'm building. Because every other week in UI world, that there is new package, there is new library that's being launched, and you don't need to be aware about it, right? Like we have Perplexity to do the research and give you the awareness. First, decide which are the basically libraries, UI kits you want to use. Once you have used that, go to Dribble directly. This is what I would do: is directly go to Dribble, Behance, look for something that I like, take screenshots, create a folder with all the screenshots that you like, and then go to something like ChatGPT 5, which is my new favorite now. So I upload all the pictures, and you can say. So, do you guys know what is JSON prompting?
Explain it to me.
Okay, so let's say you have a really good poster for Twitter engagement and you want to replicate it. But so how would you do is you take a screenshot, give it to ChatGPT saying, create a new version of it, but edit these things. And this is where it creates hallucinations because your prompt is not good enough. So what JSON prompting is you upload a picture saying, I want you to create a JSON prompt for this, which has everything that a picture has. And what the JSON prompt is, it has, let's say, border radius, color shades, text, icons, placement of icons, everything in a JSON format. You get a JSON format, you copy it, create a new chat, and the new chat, you provide this JSON object, you provide the image, and you can edit the JSON object now. And in the JSON object, you can change the title, picture, logo, stuff like that. And in this case, you get the pitch perfect image that you want to generate. And now you can use this for UI. So if you like something in Dribbble, take a screenshot and create JSON prompts for it. And then these JSON prompts, give it to Claude or give it to Cursor or Windsurf. And this is where you can get pixel perfect UIs. So yeah.
Amazing. I love that's great advice.
Wow.
Yeah. Johnson, how do you have any questions to Blessing and Viral? Or how do you normally start your projects?
Well, first off, before I even start, let me say that's really brilliant about the JSON prompt. Yeah, I think I've had that today. I think I'm gonna try right after this call. So what I do is more or less what Blessing said, just playing around with V0 and Cursor. Yeah, I edit component after component, not like say 10 files at a time. You know, they'll start hallucinating. So I kind of take a component and explain to the LLM what I want. Then I come back now to my IDE and plug that in if I'm not using Casa or something else. Yeah. So that's
What
how I
are
got.
places, nice. What are places where you feel like you are still doing too much manually, or where you're getting blocked, or where you feel like your prompts are not working well? What, like, when, like, right now, when you are developing something, where do you feel are like your biggest blockers, or where do you get stuck the most?
You see, like when trying to explain these blockchain terms, we're trying to bring that Web2 experience into Web3, and it might get confusing sometimes because let's say you're using an LLM like Casa and explaining how to frame some Web3 terms into Web2 and try to simplify the whole thing. Hey, yeah, so I can say that's the major challenge. Yeah, when it comes to UI UX. Yeah.
What specifically with UI UX?
Explaining the blockchain terms and guiding the user. Let's say you're dealing with someone who hasn't heard about crypto before, and you're making a transaction and trying to tell them, hey, approve first, then sign. The whole user journey
Okay.
process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you feel like one of the things that you're struggling with most is to create like a good user experience for Web3 user, like just like normal Web3 flows.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I mean, there's people or like some projects are already trying to bundle the approval. Like some staff are also renaming that. I mean, I always think MiniPay does it well because they completely they just don't use Web3 terminology for anything, and I think that's already a good start, like very important. Like I'm very happy that changed. Like I don't see people anymore who put like minting in the page or NFTs. I think that's like just leave that out, right, of that user experience. Like nobody, you can't scale if you add that. And yeah, I think what we can do also for proof of ship is definitely like if anybody sees really good user experience for any kind of Web3 flow. I mean, Viral mentioned it. There's some best practices to don't have the wallet too prominent, have like the Web2 login way more prominent, and then like add the option a little bit less visible of like you can also log in with your wallet, but like not have it in the face of somebody who's Web2 just doesn't see it, and then it's okay, right? And like kind of like these kind of best practices for user experience, I think we can definitely start sharing them in the group and in these live streams. That's why we're doing them. Do you have any other best practices, Viral, that you have seen?
Yes, in fact, I've seen a lot of people doing something called user interviews before they go live. So this is where you have an MVP and you ask 10 of your friends, categorize them between, let's say, crypto native, crypto experts, and non-crypto people based on your product. And then have this calls with them, let them ask them to share the screen and let them go through it. And the fact that you'll learn so much from people's different category of people's experiences where you can have a really good, I would say, a really good user experience changes that are required. Because most of the time, what we do is we are so obsessed in our product that we'll try to add everything, and we never looked at our product from a third person's perspective, and we just launch the product or we just submit a project for the hackathon, let's say. So it's really important to have a third person's opinion about it, and this is where mentors in the hackathons are most important, where they basically gives a really good user experience. The next I would say is doing if you have time, this consumes time,
Can I
but if you
quickly
have time,
interrupt here because
yeah.
before you start with your next point, We have one project, Canvassing Pax from Andrew, and he has already collaborated with, I think, 2 or 3 projects from Proof of Ship and also like in the Celo ecosystem, just in general to do some like for you to do user research. So you can like add your like launch a quest on, or like not, it's not really a quest, it's really a user research. He really offers the whole setup for you to do user research in this app, and you pay like $10 or something, and then everybody gets like 10
Oh,
cents.
is it like
Yeah, it's like it's in Android, it's in Google Store, Google Play Store. So he is off, like a lot of like some proof of ship projects have already done it, and definitely if you are at a point where you're live, like where you're ready to go live, or where you have like your alpha out and you're like, okay, now I want to be more professional, reach out to Andrew and do the user research. Definitely, I will just like put his Twitter account so you can reach out to him. Next point. Sorry, just wanted to.
I forgot next point.
Heh.
Yeah, I forgot. Oh, yeah. Wait. So if you have time while building a product, and this is not like for a 2-day or 3-day hackathon, but if you have time and you want to improve on UX, try to find competitors in your league of product. If not there, when I say league, I mean like category. For example, if you're making a DeFi swap, then check out Uniswap. In similar case, look for a product which is in the same category and do a really good market research on that, like what the UI looks like and how it feels, and then basically create a documentation or a prompt. So not a prompt, create a document on what are the things you like, and then start implementing it. And if you don't find something which is in your category, then just look for the best UI UX app in crypto and try to copy whatever you feel like. So the reason I'm saying copying is these big protocols have invested millions of dollars in just user experience. They've paid top talent in the world to get their user experience. And we don't have to always rebuild or reinvent the wheel. We can just have some references from the really good user experience products and just implement it, because yeah, like taking a reference is not basically copyright. So
Great advice. Love that. Okay, I am posting.
okay, this is only for fun time, right?
Yeah.
So one more suggestion that I recently explored is GPTs. There are specialized GPTs, and there are also GPTs that can help you brainstorm user experience ideas.
Nice. Yeah. So canvassing, just like reach out to them, and they will help you create like a user experience research. And I agree with Viral. It's the most important thing. Never work for 5 months on something without having somebody test it, because you will have lost those 5 months. Don't even do it
Yeah.
for 3 months. Just now with vibe coding, you're allowed 1 month, and then you have to show it to somebody. We could also say a week, but we don't want to be too strict. But yeah, you can show it definitely. Like, just a reminder, of course, you can find the link to Proof of Ship. Like, if you're interested in building on Celo, or just apply to Proof of Ship. It's a monthly program where you can start building on Celo and building your on-chain reputation, getting rewarded. And yeah. Okay, next question. Maybe Nasiruddin, you said you don't care so much about the front end, but have you, like, what would be your approach, or what would be your question to how you can improve your approach to creating a better user experience or a better front end? Or maybe you just need a new person on your team.
Okay, so the thing is, for the front end, it's not that I actually don't create very good front end. Is more or less like I'm not the kind of person that knows how to like combine colors and stuff together. You get? So that's one weakness I have. So more or less like probably whenever I'm working with a designer or something, it actually gets better. Because when we were building AfriCycle, because I worked with the designer on AfriCycle, but for FX Remit, I just vibe coded the whole thing all by myself. So when I can feel like bringing a designer design the whole thing for me, then I'm going to build it myself. You get? Now I've actually seen a more way to like vibe code it. Then the way Blessing actually said, definitely going to try it out. I'm definitely going to try it out. So I don't know. That's actually my own weakness for now. Because whenever I want to build a product,
You
after
do a
bringing
great
out,
job. Yeah.
yeah,
I say you always do a great job when you build something, except
yeah.
that like it has a personality. It
Thank you so much. So whenever I want to build a product, so what I do is the idea. I actually write a whole technical white paper on the product. So then from the technical white paper, then give it a prompt to Microsoft. We actually chat more or less like the way we are talking. We actually chat. So it's going to give me the user flow. So after the user flow, I just say more or less like the only thing lacking that I actually think I need to improve on is my UI, because the UX is actually great. Because I actually think about how the UX is going to be even before start building the product. So that's just it.
yeah. No, I agree. Very straightforward and simple.
Yeah.
You get that. You get that right. Cool. I think the last thing the last agenda point is just Johnston, do you want to share Miniland?
Before I do that, I want to ask a question.
I can
Vilma.
do it. Yeah.
So how do you retain users? How do you get users back to your app? I don't know. Let's say you are working on a DeFi protocol. How do you get users to, think about coming back to your app?
I have an answer for that. Good user
Okay.
experience.
True. And also,
I mean, go for it. Yeah.
yeah, in the Web3 space is always about the value, like also like getting incentives and also like lead generation. If you got access to their emails, feel free to like make them register to a newsletter or something. And also like a lot of people like freebies. So give them enough freebies to find value in your application, then they'll always keep coming back.
Yeah, I think there's like the incentives that work so easy in Web3, but then I think it's a short-term plan, but you always have to understand like how do you create long-term value, right? Like how do you make them stick? Do they lock tokens to save to get APY? Like what? But and then I agree with Viral. It's also a lot the user experience, and it's also the context, because in the end you always have to think about distribution, right? How do you like we all have our 5 apps that we use a lot, and then if an app sends us notifications, we will remember to go there. But it's all also about how will you be able to send notifications to somebody? A lot of people start creating like first like a group where they add all of the users, and then they send reminders of like new offers, this is the improvement, but it's difficult because it always means an application switch. So what a few people are doing very successfully is using Farcaster, because there the users are already on Farcaster, and if they sign up for your app, you will be able to send them reminders and notifications. And that is why Gabe's Bank of Cello now is so successful, because everybody registered there to like claim a little bit of like a tiny faucet amount. But now he can send reminders of being like, hey, there's like a jackpot, hey, there's this going on. And even if he upgrades and adds new features, he can inform people about that because they already subscribe to his application. So like if you don't have the financial means, like the infra to create this like huge community, either like in a Telegram or WhatsApp community, then Firecaster is a very, very good place to start off. And once you get users on Firecaster, you can talk to wallets like MiniPay or also on other chains, right? Because as soon as you have users interactions, people will reach out to you, teams will reach out to you to ask you to, like, if you're interested in deploying and working with them. So, and of course, for some people, Firecaster doesn't work because their target group is non-Web3 people. Maybe in the beginning you can build it for Web3 people just to like get users before somebody with the distribution network reaches out to you. I know there's like a lot of applications that have a huge distribution network and they actually look for good applications. But for that, your application has to have a good storytelling, a good user experience. And a good way to do that is in Firecaster to like reach that point. And yeah, I feel like the goal, I know people, I have one success story. It's really funny. It's like a team, they tried to build a Discord, but like a decentralized Discord. And then they got lucky because suddenly these like teenager communities started using it. And it spread like crazy without any marketing. And that's like, I would say, in the end, the goal for like native adoption without even having to do anything, right? But for that, you would probably have to build a very good product or like a niche product. But I think the main thing is also like, again, what Viral said, it's the user experience. I see so many applications, I land on that page and I have no idea what to do. I don't know what value you bring me. You need to like work with a marketing and business person to like put the value on the front page of being like, save here, you get more higher returns, or it's safer to save here, or like we have the best community, whatever. Like whatever you have, whatever is better about you than about your competitors, you need to talk about that. And I see. Yeah.
Lena, I have a different take on the retention piece. Like, I feel like you should not care about user retention at early stages of your product, and you should care more about acquiring users than retention. Because focusing on retention will like deviate you from actually building a good product. Because let's say in a DeFi product, until you have, let's say, 1,000 person who has at least signed up, you should not care about retention, but you should care about acquiring users. And how do you acquire users at scale is two things, I would say. First one is what makes people recommend a product. Like if you're focusing on organic growth, then you need to focus on what make people recommend your product to someone else. And that includes very small things. Like I'll give you an example. Recently, what I've been obsessed about is like I love trying out different browsers, and I've been using Arc for like last 2 years, and I've tried just last week. I tried 3 more like products. I didn't like it because the small user experience or just the small UI features that Arc provides. Like there are different clones, open source versions of Arc, but they're not able to meet the fluent user experience that this browser provides. And this is why I'm, without asking, recommending people to try out Arc, and that will change your life. In similar way, just having a good first time, like there has to be an aha moment when a user lands at your product, and you need to find that aha moment. The aha moment can be when I go to your landing page in just one 10 seconds video, I understand what you do. That is the aha moment that, oh shit. I don't need to, like, you don't need to ask your consumer to go to the documentation and understand what we do before interacting, or you should not expect them to directly connect a wallet without knowing what you guys do. Because a lot of people who are paranoid will never connect their wallet, and you're losing your customers in that case. So very small things, like in first 15 to 20 seconds, is your first impression of the product. That has to be killer. And the moment they like it, they will try it out a few more times. And if they love it, they'll I'm sure like it can be very low. Yeah.
Sorry, your sound was gone.
I actually have a question on that.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you talked about building a product whereby user can just like they don't want to like come to connect the wallet without knowing how it works, whereby having a section on your landing page to explain how it works, probably a visual what's it called, diagram or something like that. So would that work?
Yes, depends on what your product is. I don't know exactly, but what I would prefer is to try out the product without connecting it. And the moment I want to interact with the protocol is when you ask user to connect. And this is where you build trust. So yeah, like, that's the first version. If you can't do it, then go for a video. And if not that, then go for a chart or something.
I love that you're saying that, because I, like, last proof of ship, my MetaMask was broken, and I tried some apps and I couldn't try them at all because my wallet didn't connect, so I couldn't check anything. And then I needed to reinstall it, and it worked. But
Yeah,
like,
you'll never visit that website again now. And this is where they lost one
I
user.
I had a bad experience because I couldn't test anything out or like look at anything without
Yeah.
connecting my wallet.
True.
So yeah, I think that's that's a very, very important user experience advice. Only connect your wallet when you really need to, when you need to like sign something. Don't,
Yes.
I mean, why people do it is to sign in to like collect data, but like you lose everybody and you don't really collect
True.
any
And to be
data.
honest, collecting a user's wallet gives you nothing. Like if you're asking user to connect with Google, it gives you user data. But yeah, like connecting wallet is least amount of information you'll ever get from a user because it's decentralized Web3, right? Yeah, just don't
True.
ask for a wallet until it's absolutely required to do something on chain, or if you want to read users' data from on chain. Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah. All right. So I've got a question. What is the best go-to-market strategy when you're developing something?
That's a pretty vague question and a really big and important question.
When you don't know the product, it's just like the
Yeah.
most general but best go-to-market strategy.
I'll give you a
Because
generic
nowadays
answer.
I'm thinking nowadays, like you can go to Farcaster, get user data, reiterate, and then later on you can decide to say, okay, I'm going to build my standalone application. I'm speaking along those lines. Like, what is the
Yeah.
best
Okay.
way? Yeah.
So you're talking about a specific use case in go-to-market that is coming out of from Farcaster, you mean?
Yeah.
I mean, right now, we really recommend everybody to go through Farcaster because it's the easiest way to get users. But still, people struggle, right? Farcaster has its own mechanism. You should make sure you read the article on how to build a viral Farcaster mini app, because if you don't do that, then you're just losing out on understanding how to build one, right?
Mhm.
And you can see like the most successful Farcaster mini apps are built by people who have been active on Farcaster before and who understand how Farcaster works. And then I think that's just the easiest pipeline. It won't work for every app, but then as mentioned, do Farcaster, get your first 500 users, iterate, maybe get your first 1,000 users, and then try to talk about it. I think in the end, it's always like, if you can't talk about it, get somebody who is doing marketing and just your Twitter account or talk. Like you need, like, I think this is one of the things that has been frustrating a lot with seeing really amazing developers build something, is they don't understand the importance of marketing and business, and then they keep building one project after the other, but because they don't understand the importance and like even like how to do the other two things, or they do them very bad, they fail and they keep failing. And I think if you are one of those people, if you say you're like, I'm actually really smart, I'm a very good dev, why do all of my ideas keep failing? It's probably because
Yeah.
you need to build a team. And probably your first team will not be the team you stay with forever, but you need to learn to work with people, and you need to also see and understand the perspective and like value and trust people who know those things that they know, and that it's very important for you to trust and work with those people.
100%. Yeah. because you definitely need people to go to the next stages. I think that's one of the issues that I've saw when it came to when I was working at the incubation app, is that most of the people who come with ideas, they're like, oh, I want to retain 100% of the shares, all this, but 100% of nothing is nothing, right? But if you build a team, you get co-founders and you start focusing on what you do best and they focus on what they do best, you can actually build a very great product.
Yeah. I was at the Growth Summit in Berlin this year, and it was very focused on growth and marketing, and there was just a lot of marketing and ecosystem leads. And what they said is what Viral also said earlier. Right now, everybody can build an app in like a week. Where are you a competitor? Like, no, nowhere. If you're not that important anymore with your technical knowledge. Like, you can be if you build out your product and if you're valuable to somebody else who has the business idea and you can help them really build what they have in mind. But also be open to letting go of your idea and trusting somebody who has business experience in actually coming up with an idea. So if you're a great developer, go to a business school and be like, hey, anybody here has a great idea? That would be my advice. Because at this point you need marketing. You need business experience. You will not be successful if you're just a developer. And that's
And
the
there are
closing.
shortcuts to learn. Just a quick tip that I saw this tweet, I think just today, is around how you do go to market if you're a first time founder. So, like being a first time founder, let's say most of the category of people fit into this category is where they're a little bit technical, they're not open on social media, and they're not creative enough to do really good marketing. And like majority, I would say, of developers who are building something comes in this category. So what the person, I don't remember the name, and I agree with that tweet is you need to find one creative founder. It has to be a new category, I would say, is creative founder, but creative in terms of not product, but in terms of outreach on different social media accounts. Because the moment you have a product, you need to tell your story. You need to start talking about it on Twitter, and then progress it over to, let's say, conferences and then different talk shows and calls like our calls, where you need to come to the stage and you need to explain what you do in a really sarcastic, not sarcastic, I would say creative way, because a lot of people just post launch tweets and they have like 100 likes, and there are a lot of tweets with just one or two lines and a video gets more than 100,000 views and likes. There's a difference between what Twitter picks up as a creative and the thing that people want to see. So go to market, what I would suggest is find one or two protocol which did 0 to 100 in a couple of weeks. There are a lot of examples out there if you try on Twitter, and just try to reverse engineer. And the thing is, it's not difficult. Go to their Twitter profile and since day one, like scroll to the bottom. From day one, see what they are doing, what kind of tweets they are doing, what kind of videos they are launching, how many time frequency, like every day, how many tweets they are doing, where they are replying. And just try to feed this data into a LLM and just ask LLM, give me a go-to-market strategy. And this is the best go-to-market strategy you'll ever get. Like just asking people will miss out things. But if you have proof on Twitter or Firecaster what happened, like this is the best go-to-market I could suggest you can do.
I think that was amazing. I think that's great advice. Does anybody, like, obviously everybody here in the call, everybody who is joined in YouTube or Twitter, feel free to like ask one last question to these amazing speakers with all of their knowledge. And then I just wanted to share one thing. We've been talking about proof of ship. You better sign up to proof of ship and build on Celo. And now you know how you're going to win, because if you would watch this whole video, you know how to build an app in 5 days. Submission is on Monday. And how you're going to win. just like go back to the beginning of this video, and I see you on the winning thing. And like in your presentation, you can say, I watched this video last Thursday, and then I started building, and then maybe you get some extra points. Okay, that was it from my side. Make sure to follow Viral, because he is very active on Twitter now. He analyzed the most successful DevRels and started doing the same. And
I'll give you a quick hack. What I did, like at what extent I went to upgrade my profile, is I created a Chrome extension, vibe coded a Chrome extension. Whichever tweet I like, I just click on a button in my extension. It puts it into Airtable, and my Airtable feeds into ChatGPT. So whatever tweets I like, it's feeded into ChatGPT, and they know my tone or what kind of tone I use to like on tweets. And this I did it in 2 hours. If you know the steps to follow, you can just vibe code anything.
That's super cool, man.
That is really cool. Yeah. Wait. Yeah. Follow Viral for more tips and tricks. And his cool tweets now. Well, and make sure to check out Blessing. He is just innovating in his little innovation institute, and is coming up with always great ideas that he doesn't have time to build out. So if you ever need a great idea to get started, just ask Blessing, and he will give you a good idea that you can build, and the steps on how to do that. He's always a mentor for Proof of Ship, so just reach out. I'm also a mentor. That's me. So yeah, reach out, sign up to Proof of Ship, and yeah, we hope you enjoyed the session. Let us know what you want to see next time. Next time you will learn how to add insights in Third Web. But feel free to just comment and leave us your open questions, the things that you're struggling with when building your apps and vibe coding, or in general, just understanding how to build something successful. Thank you everybody for joining. Bye-bye.